Hi, I'm BJ with New Orleans Secret Tours. I thought I'd act as your cultural translator today. Because we all know language is a crazy thing. Words form a visual understanding in our minds, but they change over time, and in our case, location. Here in New Orleans, our heritage is 300 plus years old with a mix of cultural influences that range from French, Spanish, German, African, Haitian, American via the English, Italian, Irish, and that's just up to the early 1800s. Mix this all with a stubborn, independent feeling from its residents and a staunch hold on their past, and this means our language is very unique. Here is my list of words I think you should know in alphabetical order. If you have others that you think I should cover, please mention it in the comments below. Starting off with A, Andouille. Now, when you come to town, you'll want good food. Without a doubt, you'll see this sausage on the menu. It's French in origin and it was brought to the United States through Louisiana by many of the French immigrants, and it's easiest described as a spiced pork smoked sausage. And it's mighty tasty too. We're going to jump right to B, ball. A Mardi Gras ball to be precise. This is where the crew's formal events and there's dancing and presenting of honors. The first was held in 1857 by the crew of Comus. Now, here's one of my favorites. Banquette. That's right, Banquette. You may know it as an old piece of furniture. You've heard that. But here in New Orleans, we look at it a little different. In the early days, city blocks in New Orleans were called islands, possibly because the streets regularly filled with water, and they had a little dirt mound that separated it from the actual area where the houses were. Now, these banks around them, logically, the French call them banquettes, and the sidewalks are still so called in New Orleans by an older part of the population and history geeks like myself. Next up is Bayou. It's a small stream with a slow current normally flowing out of the marsh. But the fun part of this is it's an English word that's a twist on a French interpretation of a Choctaw word for the same thing. For the local natives of the area, it was called Bayou, B-A-Y-U-K. Next up is beignets. I don't have to do this one, right? Go look at the other episodes on Big Easy Life channel, and I have a whole show dedicated just to beignets. Big Easy. Now, this is of course one of the many nicknames given in New Orleans. So, how did the city get this nickname? Well, in the early 1900s, there was a dance hall called the Big Easy, but the nickname really didn't get famous until the early 1970s. That was when a Louisiana newspaper writer began calling New Orleans by this name. She compared the easygoing way of life here to the hustle and bustle of New York. The Big Apple compared to the Big Easy. And the movie you're thinking of did not come out until 1987, so just saying. A Bisque. Now, this is a thick cream milk or tomato-based shellfish soup. You say that 3 times fast yourself. Made with crawfish, shrimp, crab, or oysters. It's an old French thing we stole and enjoy it. Blackened. It's a spice-coated fish or meat that's seasoned quickly but not burnt. It's normally done in butter and in a cast iron skillet to create this crunchy, wonderful heaven outer coating. The man that made this famous as well as popular was Chef Paul Prudhomme. Next up is Boeuf Gras, the fatted bull. It's a Lenten symbol that goes way back to antiquity. It's the last meat eaten before a season of fasting for Lent. It was a prominent symbol in France as early as 1512. A live bull walked the route of Rex here in New Orleans until 1901. Now we have the amazing float, which returned in 1959 to represent that bull. Next up is Boucherie. A boucherie is a community butchering where several families, mostly in the Cajun communities, bring animals, mostly pigs, to be slaughtered. Each family then processes a different cut of the meat, making sausage, ham, boudin, chops, and head cheese. Each gets a share of the yield, and it was traditionally done in the late fall to provide meat during the winter months. My mouth is watering already. We mentioned Boudin, so let's say Boudin. This is a Cajun sausage filled with spicy meat and rice. It can be blood type, noir, or white type, which is blanc. Bouree. Now, the word bouree is French for stuffed. It's the name of a Cajun card game, which I'm particularly fond of. It requires the loser of each hand to stuff the pot with chips. Don't get roped into one of these games if you have a choice. You will lose your money. It can get very expensive. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first few letters of the local terms. Man, there's a lot more than I originally thought. I hope you'll comment below with your favorite so I can include them in future parts.